Oh god. Fuck.
What happened?
You were whipping me around in the helicopter and I got hit in the family.
I hate you. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Although, yeah, I don't know if you were here before, so if you weren't here before, welcome. This is going to be a spoilers discussion video about the various Far Cry 5 endings and other spoilery story in general discussion. Yeah. So just getting it out of the way. Have you seen the secret ending?
So, which one is the secret ending to you? Is it the one at the beginning of the game?
Yeah, it's the one where you don't. I'll actually probably put a video up of it just because why not? But it's where you don't cuff Joseph Seed at the very beginning, and then the marshal's like, what's going on, blah blah, and then the sheriff's like, sometimes it's just best to leave things alone, shit like that. So yeah, you basically don't handcuff. You don't go through the game. is the secret ending, which I mean, I like it. It's sort of an Easter egg kind of ending. You know, it's obviously not the canon, but I like it. And they did that with Far Cry 4 as well. I don't know if they did it with Far Cry 3. But basically, yeah, at the beginning of Far Cry 4, the Pagan Min just says, "All right, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back." And you're inside his mansion. And if you wait there, you literally have to wait like 15 minutes, like real time. But if you do, he comes back and he's like, "Oh, you waited. Thank you so much. I'm sorry about that. I had to take care of that." He just like killed your friend. But he's like, so, and then he takes you to where you were trying to get to towards the end, which is your mother sends you to Far Cry 4, to Kyrat to find Lakshmana, who turns out to be her and Pagan's daughter. So she wants you to take her ashes to Lakshmana's ashes, which is right there at Pagan's palace. So if you wait,
so you just do it and you skip the whole game.
Exactly, yeah. So I liked it then, and I like that they kept that going with Far Cry 5. Yeah, so that's the secret ending.
Gotcha.
So now let's talk about. I don't know what ending you got, although you must have. You probably got the same ending I did.
I mean, I didn't get an ending because remember I played co-op, and you can't progress through co-op.
Not a real person if you play co-op.
Exactly. I'm a hired gun with a bigger brain.
Yeah. So you and I then would have gotten what's, I believe, considered the bad ending, which is if you resist Joseph Seed at the end. Yeah. So let's talk about that. Why don't you start?
So that's the
okay. Yeah. Exactly. So you resist. You go through this boss battle with Joseph Seed where all your friends show up from all the other regions except they're blissed, so now they're working for Joseph, which makes no fucking sense at all.
Yep.
Or at least it isn't explained at all. They just, no, here are all your friends, but they're working for me now. And then you go through this gunfight in the church grounds with Joseph. Right. He has some faith properties, so he gets to like teleport into and out of existence because you're blissed, and that's how bliss works, I guess.
Yeah, he dumped Bliss.
Exactly, yeah, he dumps Bliss at the beginning. And then, so you kill your allies, and then when they're down, you can res them, and then they're fine. Because I guess to get cured of Bliss, all you have to do is take a 12 gauge to the face.
Yeah, standard.
And then so at the very end, once you beat Joseph, you go to cuff him, and then a nuke goes off in the background. So it makes it seem like, oh shit, Joseph Seed is actually a prophet, and he actually knew Doomsday was coming. What the fuck? Okay, so then you go on this mad car dash towards Dutch's bunker, as another nuke goes off nearby. You get there, you get the tree hits your car, knocks you out, and presumably kills the sheriff and Hudson and Pratt, who I didn't even remember who Pratt was, but I guess he's the pilot of the helicopter.
He must, yeah.
Yeah, he must have been. So they're all dead, and then Joseph Seed drags your unconscious body to Dutch's bunker. He then kills Dutch and handcuffs you to the bed, just like the very beginning of the story, and is like, oh, I should kill you for all you've done, but you're my family now, and we're gonna rise from these ashes.
You're the only one I have left.
Exactly, yeah. So you and Joseph get to ride out eternity together in the bunker. Because I don't know when the fuck he thinks he's coming out of there, but it's not going to be within our lifetimes. So yeah, that's the quote bad, and then it fades to black, and he's like, "You're my family now." So I mean, you beat the game, but you technically lose, I guess, because the bad guy is free and all your friends are dead, and Armageddon has happened.
Yeah. Right. If there's a bad ending, that's it.
Yeah, and so this is what I was saying earlier. How I like that Ubisoft made one of their endings like a bad one. Like that's sort of like, that's brave. That's definitely not a happy, good ending.
Right. And that's probably the one that you're gonna pick first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, resist.
Because most people are gonna, I would think anyway. Most people are going to resist first. He's like, well, I've spent the whole game trying to get this guy. Might as well try to get him now.
Yeah.
So, and then that will lead to the bad ending. Yeah.
My issue with it.
Feel good.
Yeah, my issue with it is not that it's a bad, unhappy ending. It's that it just made no fucking sense. Like, why are all of your falls end and your like, why are all your like, we had just wiped out his cult. How the fuck did he bliss them? And why, and how come Bliss I guess a lot of my issues revolve around Bliss. Like, why is it mind control?
And that is my biggest entire gripe with the game in general. And the whole Bliss stuff, mind control, hate it. I hate it. There's very few ways I think that you can do mind control against the player and make it not suck.
Mm-hmm.
I really find it very difficult to be able to make it work and not suck.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for me, I actually didn't mind the Jacob section, because that wasn't really mind control. That to me, that was conditioning. It was kind of like, cull the herd, but like they at least established it and were consistent with it throughout the region. Like, cull the herd. Like, he's training you to kill on sight pretty much everyone around you if you hear the song "Only You." So at least to me, that, again, I didn't like it. I thought it was weak, but it made sort of sense and it was consistent. But yeah, the mind control nonsense with all your friends at the end with Joseph Seed didn't make any sense at all, and I feel like it was just there. It was, again, it comes back to what you were talking about earlier. It just felt lazy. Like, why? Like, it would have made sense if there were 50, 100 cultists still at the church with him. Like, those are his personal guard,
Yeah.
Like, and then all your friends help and come. All your friends come and help to take him out, and then maybe he blisses them and they start losing their shit then. But like, it felt completely out of place to confront Joseph at the church, and then you turn around and all your supposed friends are there as bad guys.
And they helped you so much, and they gave so much during the entire process of the campaign too. Like how committed against the cult was the pastor?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Right? And he's like he's the one pointing a gun to your friends' heads. Like, everybody else is kind of hanging around in the back, just like, and then you have the pastor, who is just the best, who is the most committed against the cult, and he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna blow your friend's head off if you don't lay off my buddy Joseph. What?
Yeah. Yeah, man. To say it was nonsense is like to understate it. It was fucking bullshit.
Yeah. Totally.
Which is again unfortunate, because I think you and I are in pretty much agreement that we really liked the game. Like, most of the game was great, but then just bullshit.
Ending was in just the entire way that the narrative was given to the player, nay, forced upon. I just think that it was silly.
Yeah, and kind of going off that too, there was no boss battle with Joseph. Like, I mean, I guess there sort of was. There's that fight in the church with all your friends, but that didn't really feel like, you know, it didn't really feel like a boss battle. Like even for all the other,
Frantic.
yeah, it was frantic, but it was mostly just like, okay, shot my friend, res my friend, shot my friend, res my friend. Like like
Yeah.
for every other boss, like you have sort of a boss fight with them, and then you have to go destroy their bunker, and like it felt it made it was gratifying because we'd spent all this time in the region, and now we're done. And here's this big boss fight, and then it's over. With Joseph, it was just like, oh, uh, here's a here's a stupid choice for with stupid magic, mind control, bliss bullet nonsense, and then it's done. And here's the end of the world.
Yeah.
So I really didn't like it. That's very atypical from Far Cry games too. I mean, all the other Far Cries had big boss fights. Even with Holt, Far Cry 3 you didn't like. There's you storming his compound. In Far Cry 4, you confront Pagan Min and you storm his compound. And so I was very much looking forward to that. That's, I mean, towards the very end, I equipped Cheeseburger for that very reason. I thought we were gonna go guns blazing into there and kill another 100 cultists and then confront Joseph at the church at the very end, like the same way. But
Yeah, I think that would have been even safer, but would have been better.
yeah,
Because it feels more climactic.
Yeah.
Even if at the end you do everything else and you still, like everything else still happens where you cuff him and the things blow up, that still would be better.
mm-hmm.
But if just actually having the whole, and we're gonna storm the churchyard and have all of our friends that we spent so much time helping and recruiting gonna help us out. Rather than that, they're helping out him, which makes no fucking sense.
Fuck.
It was a little bananas and silly.
Lame as shit is what it was.
Yeah.
Fuck. And yeah, so I guess some of my other questions revolve around like just seeing the bad ending. You could genuinely walk away and think that Joseph's actually a prophet. But so you've seen the quote good ending too, right?
Yeah, where you walk away and everything's just like, all right, just leave enough alone, kind of like how the secret ending was.
Well, sort of, except in the car, the sheriff's like, okay, so yeah, so you don't cuff Joseph. He's actually a man of his word, which I found very interesting. Like, I thought that was actually a good moment of character with him. It's like, oh shit, he's actually going to let us leave. So you and Hudson and Pratt and the sheriff are driving away, and Hudson's like, what the fuck, Sheriff? We just abandoned all those people. And the sheriff's like, no, we didn't. We're going to the National Guard. And so, like...
Which would be kind of like the way if you were actually in that position, that's what you would do.
Yeah, that's actually probably the best decision to make. And then, right, so yeah, so you go to the National Guard, but guess what? No fucking nukes go off.
Yeah.
Which means that Joseph set those nukes off. Which, again, was really cool. I would have liked them to explain, like, oh shit, this cult actually has nukes. So Joseph's not actually a prophet in the sense that he's only going to be a prophet and see Doomsday if he causes it himself. And then, so in the bad scene was like, I've gone so long waiting for this prophecy to come true, and most importantly, it means that I'm right. It's like, well, yeah, it means you're right, idiot, because you have nukes that you're choosing to set off.
Yeah, I get you.
So
That's what we call a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly, which are very true. That shit happens all the time. But that you wouldn't know that without playing both endings.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it was fair. Like, I guess Joseph's delusional enough that he would think that he's actually a prophet, even if he set off those nukes. So I guess it sort of makes sense. But I would, I don't know. I guess I can't be too critical there, but I was a little annoyed, but like when I thought like Ubisoft was really being like, no, Joseph's actually a prophet. These are Russian nukes. Like, no, those aren't Russian nukes. Those are fucking Joseph's nukes. Oh shit. Oh, and so at the very end of the good ending, one thing I actually really liked was when you're in the car with all of them, the sheriff's like, oh no, we're going to go to the National Guard, and then he turns on the radio, and then the song only you comes on, and you start to like lose your shit a little bit, like, and then it cuts to black. So I mean, I think it's alluding to the fact that you end up just killing everyone because you're still technically brainwashed. I thought that was really cool. It was a little odd.
Yeah, it felt weird though. I don't know. For me, I was like, "Ah, man, really?" So there really was no good or happy ending, because if that was the case, yeah, you just murder everyone in the car, and you presumably, after you come to, will go, oh shit, what have I done?
Shit, I'm still conditioned. Yeah.
And then so yeah, what happens after that? There's really no, very open what can happen after that.
Yeah. So you're really just completely against all of the mind control stuff,
I hate them. I hate it.
huh?
I think it's stupid.
Yeah, I don't know if I blame you. Yeah, some of the bliss bullets, the bliss arrows, the bliss itself. It's just if bliss is going to be this powerful, because let's face it, if bliss were a real drug, it would be the most weaponized, powerful drug in the history of mankind. Because from all the from all the accounts of it we've seen, like you can teleport, you can you can mind control, you can like
Like, I don't think you can actually teleport. I think what's happening is, like, when you're on bliss, you're hallucinating out the wazoo.
yeah, but except that Faith's whole zone is that, and we kill her in the bliss world, whatever that is.
You're, well, yeah, but I mean, I don't think like being blissed out brings you into an alternate reality. It just makes you fucking like psychotic and hallucinating out the wazoo, to the point where you think that things are happening when they're not. So like, you think that Faith is, flying when she's not, but if you actually shoot her, she disappears, right? It's because she's not really there. It's an illusion. But sort of like the Matrix, I guess. Whatever happens to you when you're blissed out actually happens to you in real life. Like you actually take some damage. I think that's just that's just a game mechanic, right?
Yeah.
Like again, it's a game mechanic. But the whole way that they delivered the narrative, I thought sucked balls. I hate mind control shit. It feels cheap. It feels like, obviously there's power being taken away from you, because if you're tripping balls and you're like, oh man, I don't know if I'm actually because obviously if we're playing the game and we're tripping balls in the game, we're gonna go, hey, I don't know if I want to kill. Like at the end, you killed Eli, right? And you're like, man, I wish I didn't kill Eli. Like, I think if you were actually tripping balls, you'd go like, oh, I don't know if I should shoot this yet.
Yeah.
Like the whole, like, Jacob's whole region, I fucking hated. And it sucked because I thought going into it, I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be great. He's a hunter. We're gonna have to hunt him.
Yeah, he's ex-military. He's way more grounded than John and Faith. Like he didn't feel like a psychopath or a drugged out lunatic. Like he didn't John was very much a torturer, psycho. Faith was very much someone on drugs who had been taken advantage of. Jacob actually felt like, oh, he might have been this fucked up before
Yeah.
Joseph,
Exactly. But just the way they did everything with the mind control stuff, I just thought sucked. Because nothing feels worse in a game than when you get just entirely robbed of control. There are ways to do it where that it's okay. In fact, you hated the Bliss Bullet. I thought that the Bliss Bullet area, like John's section, was okay. I kind of accepted it.
Mhm.
Right? I kind of accepted that, okay, I got shot. You could have just very easily have done it with a tranquilizer dart and then captured me. I get that. And I was okay with it because of how it came out. But everything in Jacob's region pissed me off, because it's like, hey, I'm just going to, everything that you've done up to this point, I'm just going to undo it by clicking on a lockbox. or a jukebox, what a music box. Music box, words. So he picks up this music box, and all of a sudden you're now just his plaything to do with whatever you want. I don't like that because you end up killing Eli in what is presumably like, you know, when we're culling the herd, I think we're actually killing whitetails every time. Like there's a time where we're killing whitetails, and that's the reason why the whitetails are struggling so hard in the context of the story. When we get blissed out or whatever, and we're missing, the whitetails seem to struggle a lot because every time we wake up, they're like, "Holy crap, where have you been? We've been taking so much damage. We can't because we're killing them."
Yeah.
And I don't like that, but it's okay. I understand. That's how the story progresses. But at the end, we end up storming the thing by ourselves. We kill a whole bunch of whitetails. We kill Eli. It seems so fucking lazy. Like, yeah, we're not gonna have the cult do it. We're gonna have you do it. Because we know you would never actually want to do that. So we're just gonna make you. We're gonna force you to do it. I hate it. I hate it. It's stupid. God.
Yeah, it's funny that the things that bothered me the most didn't bother you, or bothered you the least, and vice versa. Yeah, because I fucking hated that bliss bullet, man. It felt like Hawkeye was shooting it at me.
No. I mean, I didn't like it. I mean, that's not to say that I didn't that I liked being captured, or because again, it's taking control away from the player and it doesn't feel right. But I feel like there were so many better ways that you could have done it.
Yeah.
Right? Like if like especially in Jacob's region, right? Like you could say that, you take an outpost or something like that. You could have like a story mission that happens where you have to take something. And then you take it, and then the cult attacks it. And then in the process of you having to respond to it, they also take the headquarters and kill Eli. That would feel way better. Even though it's way more predictable, I feel like that would feel better than you getting blissed out and being forced to kill Eli from Jacob.
Yeah.
Because that's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, even though it's more predictable and it's like, oh yeah, okay, well whatever, I still feel that would be more satisfying. And I guess I don't have to be satisfied while I'm playing the game, but I don't know, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, any sort of mind control mechanic. Like if you did it once, I got it like with Faith. I didn't like Faith's region not aesthetically. Like I didn't like the idea of the whole being blissed out thing, but I accepted it because it was it was an acceptable like way of progressing the story. Like, oh, okay, you can only progress through here and commune with Faith when you're blissed out of your fucking mind.
Yeah. She's a sorcerer. You need to have the magic.
So I understood that. I didn't particularly like it, but I thought Faith was the best way that they did it because there was a very particular reason why you needed to get blissed out, was because you had to commune with Faith that way. And even though I didn't like it, like conceptually, because I'm like, I hate being, blissed out of my mind and being fucking hallucinating, I liked that the best because it had the most acceptable reason for you doing shit that you didn't want to do. Like Bliss made Marshall kill himself and kill Virgil and cause havoc, and like I understand that because drugs can do that. I don't think drugs can make you, respond to a music box and make you murder all of your friends. I hated it. I hated Jacob's region.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. And I think it just boils down to what we were talking about before, just laziness, and it sucks because you don't want to be too critical because we're just dudes playing it. We're just watching. We don't know the developmental woes that they went through. Maybe maybe they had other plans and then they got told that those were no good and just keep it simple or something like that. But I guess all we can judge is the is the product we experience, right? And I think
Yeah.
we're both in agreement that that was the player agency. I don't want to say restricting, theft moments or the forced moments where we have no control over anything or just the least.
Enjoyable.
Yeah.
Sure. And that can be okay if you do it right. I just don't think they did it right.
Yeah.
And that's the big key. I think there was a lot of missed opportunities that they could have taken with it.
Hmm.
And even though like I'm basically contradicting myself when I say that they were lazy. Like, they kind of took a different path, but I think the path sucked balls. Like, right? Because I said, like, there's a more predictable way of doing it. Like, oh, you have to take a place and then they storm Whitetail. And that wouldn't make, that would be really simple way to do it. But just making mind control mechanics just suck. I don't like them at all.
Yeah.
There's like I said, there's particular ways of doing it. If you do it once, right? Like, oh, I'm blissed out of my mind now, and I killed my buddy, Eli.
Well,
If that was the only time it happened, okay.
the thing is, Far Cry has always sort of had these mystical, magical elements in their games, and like these altered states of consciousness. And for me, they've actually always been the parts of the game that I like the least.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that could very easily be said the other way by someone else. So, I never felt like, even in Far Cry 3 or 4, during those moments I didn't like, I never felt powerless and out of control, except for when I was supposed to be. I think the issue with this game is that it was like we knew when it was coming, so like it wasn't even a surprise. It wasn't. It was like it was sort of this thing we had to dread in a way. It's like, oh, we're at 1/3 progress through this region, 2/3 progress through this region. Oh, we're gonna get abducted, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah. Yeah. That was.
I would have rather them just sent an unbeatable amount of people at us, and maybe we fight our ways out, and or maybe eventually we lose no matter what, or we get, or during that fray, then we get bliss bulleted there, like, as opposed to just the nonsense from out of nowhere, the arrow from the bullet from out of nowhere, the bliss. I don't even know what that is from Faith. Like, I thought for a little bit that you had to like click on her, and she would try and be sneaky, but there was a few times where you literally just start like going, oh, I'm tired.
Getting blissed out.
Yeah. It's like, where the fuck did this is not how drugs work. Like, drugs.
There was that one time where there was a hostage that you freed, and then as soon as you freed the hostage, turned into Faith, and then you went through with it.
Yeah.
That was okay.
I mean, that's cool as fuck. I wish it was that way all the time. But
Or at least some other implementation other than, oh, I'm woozy, oh boy.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden they just come up on you and, oh, we're gonna take him in. Yeah, there was a lot of dissonance going on too, because at very particular moments in the story, you are abducted, and then you are released. But they don't just kill you, Dr. Evil style. It's like, hey, we're going to set up this elaborate, way of, trapping you, and then not killing you. Where, if we went to an outpost and they shot us and killed us, that's totally what would have happened.
Yeah, right.
So there were times where it was okay to kill us, and then there were times where it was not okay to kill us, and that made, gameplay wise, it makes sense, because when you don't need to kill us or you can't kill us, that's important to the story. And when you do kill us, that's how you lose the game. But it just felt silly, where sometimes it's okay to totally murder him with a shotgun and a flamethrower, and then other times we gotta be quiet, gotta load up that bliss bullet.
Yeah.
There were lots of times we couldn't even get shot, and then all of a sudden, there's this guy with a machine gun can finally hit us with that one bliss bullet, and then you get hit and we both go unconscious.
Yeah. I guess
little bit of poker.
from the game's perspective, we always we have to just accept the fact that the game sees us as one player. Because situations like that then make no sense. But yeah, were there any other thoughts you had about the actual ending? I know we're sort of retreading on the other video right now, which is fine. But
I mean, I thought the endings were okay. Like, the bad ending with the nukes was like, hey, by the way, bad stuff happens. And I mean, sometimes bad stuff happens. And sometimes, like not having a good, satisfying ending can be a good thing.
yeah,
Right? Like there are animes out there that have just shitty endings where at the end, by the way, everything is dead and everything that you did through the whole story was useless. Sometimes it happens.
I guess yeah,
Like,
and that's a journey versus destination type argument, right? Like even like I dislike the bad ending, but I don't. That doesn't make me dislike the game, right? Like because that was 10 minutes. The game was 30 or so hours. But yeah, I definitely felt the bad ending. It just hinged too much on unexplained nonsense. With
for sure. Yeah, all of your friends. There are no cultists left. Only buddies, and your buddies are cultists.
yeah. Yep.
But they're not cultists because they choose to. Because once you beat the shit out of them and bring them back up, they're totally fine.
Yeah.
They came to their senses. Like you knock them out and they come back. Why? I didn't even. Did I shoot you? I'm so sorry. Joseph's an asshole. Let's go get him.
Yeah, I guess you could say I liked the good ending because I thought that actually made the most sense, and I know you didn't. You thought it was sort of dark. They cut to black when you start to lose your shit and presumably kill everyone, but I kind of like that. I like those Sopranos like endings.
Oh yeah, sure.
And it it was interesting that Joseph after all that would let you go. And that also showed that no, he's got nukes. He's not an actual prophet. We're magical, but we're not that magical.
Yeah.
But yeah, ending was weak, and endings are difficult for anything. Like,
they're the easiest to criticize.
Yeah, exactly. So by no means does this make me regret buying the game or playing it. But I think. For me, it's just a missed opportunity once again. Like, oh, we could have had, or this would have been so easy to fix. You wonder sometimes if no one brought up these issues or if they just didn't care.
I mean, you figure, the crew working on Far Cry 3 must have been like 200-400 people. Someone would have gone, hey, wait a minute, you sure we should just Are you sure?
Right.
I'm sure they had a whole team. I'm sure they had a whole team bouncing ideas off each other, and they were just like, "Hey, we're gonna go with this one because it's the silliest." I mean, yeah, the ending is where they could have the most sort of creative, like breadth to explore, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, they made 3 different endings, right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it was okay. I mean, I didn't have any particular major gripes about any of the endings. Really. It is kind of curious to find out like what would have happened if you did just do the secret ending where you just leave them alone. Like, what would actually happen?
Yeah, play that game. Come back with the National Guard. Yeah, man, I'd play that. Fuck that. That'd be awesome.
I mean, I think though, if you're right though, I mean, Joseph's got nukes.
Yeah, that's true. Fuck! Imagine a little mini nuclear state in northern Montana that we can't just fuck with because he's got like 3 nukes that he can detonate at any time. That'd be you know what? That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it does. That's probably what would happen too.
That justifies their existence. Shit. That's why you can't bring in the National Guard.
Yeah. They secede from the Union because they can, and they can defend their borders. Yeah.
Fuck. All right. Well, I think that's all my notes. Do you got anything else?
Let me check here.
Check right here. Yeah. Check here.
Yeah, no, my biggest, my really my only gripe was the whole mind control bullshit. Like, everything else was acceptable, whether I liked it or not. Wasn't really relevant. I was like, yeah, it's fine. I get it. I just hated the mind control stuff.
I hear you, and I fucking hated the bliss bullet. You hated the mind control. We both just kind of slightly didn't like Faith, who is a fucking sorcerer.
Yep.
I think once you accept that, it becomes fine. But it took me a little bit to accept that.
Yeah, you have to suspend your disbelief on that.
She is everywhere.
And nowhere.
And you kill her in Dreamland. We're being finicky now.
I mean, no, you killed her in real life. You were just hallucinating the shit out of everything.
Well, the thing is, when you kill her though, like, are you in her bunker and you come back and you're like in a room and she's dead? I don't remember seeing that.
She died in the river, right? Like, you guys were out in a field, killed her. She's dead in the river. You take her key and then you go to her bunker. Well, wait, do you? Because wait.
Yeah, no, you do. You do that, yeah. And her bunker's like all overgrown and shit.
And that was us hallucinating because it was all blissed out everywhere in that whole place. So, get it? Yeah, I understand now. And I accepted it. Whether I liked it or not isn't really relevant because you can't criticize. I can't really criticize it because it's like, well, it's fine. I understand. We were blissed out when we killed her. And then we're blissed out when we go there, so we're hallucinating that her bunker is like a giant tree in the ground. Yeah, so I got it. I'm not gonna criticize that.
Word. Oh, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's all we got. Yeah, Far Cry 3. Or Far Cry 3. Whoa! Far Cry 5!
It's a different video.
Yeah. Far Cry 5. Great game. Couple things that held it back. Ending was weak-ish, but that's sort of just the nature of endings in general. Like, that's not even a video game thing. I mean, how many movies or shows have you seen that have ended and you've been like, oh, that sucked?
And you're unsatisfied.
Yeah. But good game, especially co-op. Would recommend.
It was good.
Yes. All right. Well, that's all we got. I think Porter and Tiki sign off.
Peace.
Peace. Take it slow.